Hey, what's up everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Alright, so the Los Angeles Lakers are playing tonight, 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. And of course, we play the only team we ever played, Sacramento Kings, who happened to fire their coach yesterday. Man, the Kings are in the news for all the wrong reasons. They fired that man as he was getting on the plane, come to LA, play us for the third time in 7 days. The Kings are on a 5-game losing streak. And, well, 2 of them games was against us, so I ain't got to tell you how that went. We know exactly how those games went. One of them was good. The other one, we almost choked away. They got blown out by the Pacers after that in a game that they really worked close through 3.5 quarters almost. And then late in the game, they just, took their foot off the gas completely and just let the Pacers just run past them. It was really a pathetic show, to be honest with you. It was a really close game. They were doing well, and then after that game they came back and had the Pistons come to their house, and they embarrassed themselves real bad with the Pistons because they had like a 19-point lead at one point in that game, a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter, even a 10-point lead later on in the fourth quarter with like 3 minutes to go, and found a way to blow that. And got to give a lot of credit to Malik Beasley on that one. Malik Beasley's been on fire for the Pistons on the road as of late. Against us, they beat us. Of course, we know how that went, although I didn't watch that game. But, you know, it's one of those situations where they fouled Jaden Ivey on a 4-point play. And it was funny because my uncle was saying that in the Laker game, and the Warriors, we were like, man, we do not want to see a 4-point play here. Like, we Lakers were in a situation where we were up 3. And sure enough, the very next night, that's what happened against the Detroit Pistons for the Kings. They're up 4, and they foul a 3-point shooter. He hits the shot and hits the free throw, and that was it. After them having like a 10-point lead like 2 minutes ago or something crazy like that. So needless to say, their team is in disarray, and they fired their coach because of, I guess, everything, accumulation of everything. I think that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And now they're coming into a Laker building knowing that their coach is gone, but also knowing that they're a much better team on the road than they are at home. They're 6-12 at home. I don't know what their road record is, but it ain't nothing like that. And all 5 of those losses were on a 5-game home streak, which is, I don't remember the last time a team that had aspirations of being a playoff team lost 5 straight games at home. On a 5-game homestand. I ain't never seen nothing like that. Not from a good team. So, like I told people before the second Kings game, are we sure this is a good Kings team? They have roster construction issues. They have a lot of talent. It doesn't seem like they should be as bad as they are, but their record, it speaks for itself. They're not a good team. So, at this point, the Los Angeles Lakers have to be on guard because we've obviously had a lot of success against this team, but we're also coming into this season having never beaten Sabonis, who was a game-time decision with some type of illness. He didn't play in the Pistons game either, but I don't know if he'll want to give it a go or not against AD tonight. If AD is able to go, because he's also a game-time decision. Bron, Rui, D'Lo, and Jackson Hayes are all game-time decisions, and Jackson Hayes is the only good news there. So we're not sure who's all going to suit up for this game. But we do know that the Sacramento Kings at this point, they're playing with house money. Their team is spiraling out of control. No one expects them to win anything right now, especially with Mike Brown being fired. And I just think this is a trap game for the Lakers at this point, having had such recent success against the Sacramento Kings. We beat them first early in the season in a pretty impressive win when we thought Sacramento was a very good team. And then we beat them, of course, these last 2 games that we had earlier this week against them, back-to-back in their building. And so this is the 4th and final matchup with the Kings. Thank God. We don't want to see them ever again, to be honest with you. And this time, because it's in our building, we don't have to hear any cowbells and anything like that, which really gave me a migraine after the first game, to be honest with you. So, yeah, man, that's really what it is, man. Sacramento is struggling. De'Aaron Fox is about ready to get the hell up out of there. He's been the leading scorer in all 5 of them losses. So it's not really his fault, although he was the one that fouled Jaden Ivey. Someone would say it was his fault. But when I look back on that highlight, I didn't really think he fouled Jaden Ivey. I think Jaden Ivey pulled some bull crap and leaned into him. after pump faking them, getting them in midair, he did some awkward motion to draw contact, which, if I were running things, probably wouldn't be legal anyway. That would be an offensive foul. You're initiating the contact. So I don't know if De'Aaron Fox fouled him, not by what I think it should be, but by the letter of the law. I guess that's what it is. So it is what it is. But nevertheless, De'Aaron Fox has been a leading scorer in all those games. And I expect for him to come out and really show why he should be traded and why his team should give up top dollar for him, because really that's what it's about. I don't think he wants to be there anymore. He doesn't want to sign an extension with them. I believe that is ultimately what sent this team in disarray, ultimately, is believing that their best player doesn't want to be there anymore. And looking at the franchise and seeing how things are going and how they fired Mike Brown last night in the way that they did, makes you wonder if the franchise is not being run poorly on top of some of the distractions. So, the Sacramento Kings without Domantas Sabonis, they have some centers. I believe Alex Len may be available. I don't quite recall what I saw in the highlights in regards to how they utilize that center position. When watching the Detroit highlights, I don't remember who they'd use, but they're kind of struggling right now, to say the least. DeMar DeRozan's in the rotation. He's not playing great ball, hasn't really fit in with their team. Keegan Murray's having a career year in the wrong way, a career low year, not playing very well consistently these days, to the point where I've dropped him on several fantasy teams. Malik Monk started this season hot, but he's also been droppable as of late. So Kings are just all over the place, man, and none of those places good. They're getting Devin Carter back at some point very soon, from what I understand, but he ain't playing tonight. That's their rookie that they picked up that hasn't played at all since. I don't even know if he played in the preseason. To be honest with you, I think he might have got hurt in the summer league or something like that. So they haven't had him play for them at all, and it's just been bad for them, man. It's been very bad for this team. And they're looking for a win somewhere, anywhere. And they're hoping that firing their coach can fire their team up. But in the manner that they fired the coach, I don't know if it doesn't have the reverse effect and send them even further spiraling. Kevin Huerter had played well when they were on a 3-game winning streak before this 5-game losing streak. And they removed him from rotation for the most part. That fantastic shooting guard that they have as well. The point of attack defender whose name never actually comes to mind when I need it. But the dude with the dreads, he's been balling, but then they removed him from rotation, gave him some DNPs, which is it's inexplicable for a team like that who has bad defensive habits and a bunch of offensive talent. It's just a lot of mess going on down there in Sacramento. They haven't been able to hit a 3-point shot as of late. Their defense is not very good, although during the 3-game winning streak, they did have some defensive moments that were pretty solid. But for the most part, this is a very bad team right now with very good players. Big names, DeMar DeRozan, Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox. They should be beating people left and right. But when the chemistry ain't there, when the ingredients aren't mixing, when the pieces don't fit, it doesn't matter what kind of talent you have. And when guys check out, they check all the way out. And so that's really what we're looking at there. We're going into a situation where, as a Laker team, we've had the success off of them that kind of snapped us out of our funk that we've been in. We were in a significant funk about 3 weeks ago. Didn't look like we were going to be any good. But a couple dates with the Sacramento Kings. Had a dud in there with the Detroit Pistons, but we beat the Memphis Grizzlies, which is one of our better wins. So we've been winning as of late. We've turned it around a little bit. I know our team is hot and cold, so at any moment I expect the cold to come back. But for now, we can talk about wins, and that's what we've been doing. With the exception of the Detroit game, for which I just don't think we match up well with that team. And if you look up right now, Detroit's just sweeping straight through their Western Conference road trip. I mean, they beat Phoenix, they beat us, they beat Shaq. I mean, they're beating people. So you got to start looking at Detroit a little differently as of right now. But nevertheless, we go into this game tonight knowing that this team is in disarray and knowing that they have nothing to lose. We should be fired up to beat them, and we should be prepared for them to play like gangbusters, because they're a better team on the road, and they do have some really good players who should be especially inspired based on the circumstances. And are probably playing for their Sacramento King lives. Some of them are going to be traded probably with De'Aaron Fox, as that trade looks like it's likely somewhere, somehow. So that's really what's going on, man. It's funny because we had these 3 games with the Kings, and you look at it on the schedule and you don't really, nobody's actually happy to see the same team over and over again. But when you think about the hottest names in the league as it pertains to teams that are in the news for whatever reason, there is no hotter team in the league, unfortunately for the wrong reasons, than the Sacramento Kings. They're the talk of the whole entire NBA right now. And we just so happen to be faced with seeing them the day after they fire their coach. I personally think him losing to the Lakers twice and their fans' vitriol for our team and their overall vitriol for our team really probably did it in for Mike Brown. Losing to the Pacers in Detroit in the fashion that they did just made it so that it was so necessary in their minds. But losing to the Lakers twice, 3 times on the year, after sweeping us for the last several years in a row, that means a lot to Sacramento. They have a real problem with us because of what went down back in 01, and that's like the end all be all to their failure. So I'd imagine they're coming in with a special sense of hate tonight for us. Give me a second as I walk past this thing. For those who follow my channel know I have to walk past this thing almost every day. It's normal for me, but I usually don't have to do Lakers preview videos doing nothing like that, so that's pretty normal. But I want people to understand the Sacramento Kings are a team that you should somewhat fear tonight. Somewhat fear, because at the end of the day, they really don't have anything to lose. Everything to gain from a victory. They are dying for a win. They really do have fantastic talent that can go off. And that makes for a weird conundrum when you consider all of the players that we have as game time decisions. If they don't play, obviously we're at a disadvantage with our roster. If they do play and they're not 100%, that might leave them at a disadvantage to some degree as well. I just think this has every bit of the makings of a trap game. And I want to win this game bad against Sacramento Kings. We have a renewed vitriol and hatred for them just based on how much they hate us and how much we've seen them recently. And I really think they're going to be fired up to play us tonight, man. We need to be very much ready for them and whatever comes with that. I think at the end of the day, though, Sacramento is a team that, though has great players, they don't have a great bit of chemistry at the moment. And I think if you get out to a great start, they could potentially find themselves on the end of a blowout, just like against the Indiana Pacers. Although that game actually went the other way as it pertains to, it started off with them being pretty good, and then down the stretch, the Pacers ran out of there. But you get the point. We want to jump out on this team early. There's something that needs to be said as well. And this is very important. Sacramento had leads in all of those games. Rather big leads. Against Detroit, 19 points. Against the Pacers, they had a pretty solid lead. Against us, if I'm not mistaken, they had an 8-point lead or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. But it's not like they're playing at a disadvantage in every one of these losses. They've been having moments where they've been successful in these losses. They just can't close. Whatever they're doing right in the moments they're doing it right, we need to be aware and careful in regards to that. Because we too have been in a streak of losing and playing poorly and not being motivated and, not necessarily responding well to whatever the heck is in front of us. So we're not the type of team that can let our guard down against a team that's struggling like us. And that's my concern. And maybe guys say, you know what, the Sacramento team is not really focused right now. They're obviously hurting right now because of their coaching situation. De'Aaron Fox, this, that, and the third. Let's just take this game off. Let's just sit some of our guys. We're going to beat them anyway. That is a loser's mentality that we have often found ourselves aligning with in certain situations, and it's cost us victories. This is one of those games throughout the course of a season that you're supposed to win. And I got to say this to the Los Angeles Lakers. You're supposed to win this game. I don't know how we have been viewing the Sacramento Kings leading up to this game, but as of right now, this is a bad team spiraling out of control. You got to capture this victory. Because at the end of the season, when you talk about the games you couldn't afford to lose, this is definitely one of them. This is definitely one of them. So I want people to understand that the Sacramento Kings that we saw last week, they still were somewhat considered a good team. Right now, this team is struggling. Fired their coach. Best player, Sabonis, arguably, probably not going to be out there. This is a game you're supposed to win. They're coming into your building. You need to get this victory tonight. Because there are going to be games where you're not going to win. You're going to run into some teams, and you're going to play your best, and you're probably still going to lose. This is not one of those. If you come out, play your best, everybody's ready to go, you should beat the Sacramento Kings tonight. Especially tonight. And so that's what I'm telling the Lakers, man. Be on guard. Be on guard. Please don't have a loser's mentality about this basketball game. You know what I'm saying? That's my attitude. I really don't want to be disappointed in this team tonight. Not tonight. Not against this bunch. You should already know they're going to come out like gangbusters. You should already know they're going to have a heightened sense of energy. You should already know that guys like DeMar DeRozan and De'Aaron Fox likely are going to want to play well tonight more so than any other night. You got to be ready for that, man. I tell you, there are several pet peeves for me. But the mentality that you can take your foot off the gas against a team that has the profile of Sacramento right now is one of the bigger pet peeves for me. We are nobody to be taking our foot off the gas. I was listening to the Sacramento Kings announcers on their podcast, and they were saying, in regards to themselves, who are we, the Sacramento Kings, to take our foot off the gas against any opponent, as they were describing the fact that the Kings had done so. We, us, the team that has the problems we have, the team that has the roster issues we have, we shouldn't be taking our foot off the gas against nobody because we're not really that much better than anybody. And I feel the same way about the Los Angeles Lakers. You are nobody right now to be taking your foot off the gas against any opponent. Any opponent can beat you. That's already been proven. Any opponent can give you a good game. That's already been proven. So that you stay on your toes against any professional team in this league is a good understanding of who you are, not just what your responsibility is, but that you are not all that great of a basketball team to begin with. And so that's what I got to say to the Lakers, man. Be humble tonight. Come in against this team just like you would against any good team in the league, the Celtics, whoever. You got Cleveland coming up next. Do not overlook these Sacramento Kings just because you beat them twice earlier in the week. Because I promise you, the way things are going, they got nothing to lose, and they got a lot of talented players who are bound to play better eventually. Kevin Huerter, this might be a big game for him. You know what I'm saying? Be ready for that. It's the type of thing I want people to understand. Keegan Murray, he may shoot well tonight. De'Aaron Fox may go for 40 tonight. We cannot take our foot off the gas because this team is struggling. Because it hasn't been but 2 weeks that we were struggling real bad too now. And it ain't about 2 games for us to lose, for us to fall into another spiral. And so that's what I want the Laker fans and Laker team to understand, man. I see this coming. And bad teams always have this idea that they can take their foot off the gas against teams that they think they're better than. That they don't have to show up tonight. We can lax tonight. We cool. You know, that Sac ain't going to really show up because look at what's going on. Mike Brown just got fired. They in disarray. Let's jog a little bit. Bad teams love thinking they're better than they are and love thinking they can put their foot on the necks of the opponent without actually having the energy to do so. Oh, we could turn it on and off. A bad team loves thinking it has a switch to turn on and off. You understand what I'm saying? Do not believe that about yourselves, Los Angeles Lakers. You are not that good. You know, I appreciated what I saw from Austin Reeves in the last game. In the game-winning layup, a triple-double. I thought it was a big deal. But I think Austin should reel it in some. There were some flaws to his game. It wasn't like he played a perfect game. Hell, he almost gave it away with some of the three-point shots down the stretch of that basketball game. Some of why the Golden State Warriors were in the position they were in is because his clock management wasn't where it needed to be, and his shot selection was horrific before that layup. So what I'm saying to you is, while we're celebrating Austin Reeves laying the ball up and winning the game against the Golden State Warrior team that couldn't beat anybody but Minnesota over the last 2 weeks, we need to reel it in. Because while I'm proud and happy that Austin was able to have his moment, there's some perspective to understand about where the Golden State Warriors are at and why it was so difficult for us to beat them in this phase of what they're looking like, which is not very good. We should have blew them out by 30. As bad as Golden State been looking since they picked up Schroeder. You understand what I'm saying? I know Anthony Davis wasn't out there. And I know we have a lot of, was a lot of good there. But we need not act like we just won a damn championship just because we won a game on Christmas Day against a bad basketball team with a great player. Because that's exactly what that was. I'm happy for Austin, and I don't want people to think I'm not. But there was an energy about that game that made me think it's almost like we did something that day. We didn't do nothing that day. We beat a Golden State Warrior team that's basically 500. He didn't do nothing. And I understand that there are levels of success that this team has yet to understand or reach. So they don't know how little they should be proud of themselves for beating a regular season team that ain't that damn good in a close basketball game that they almost squander away. But let me tell you, as somebody who's been watching championship ball all my life, we should not be that happy about beating Golden State in that fashion. It shouldn't even been that bad. Close of a game for us to have that problem. Took a layup at the buzzer to beat that team. I'm sorry. No. We should not be almost in tears at the idea of winning that game. Nah, hell no. Nah, man. That's loser stuff. That's what I'm talking about. That loser mentality, we got to get that out of our head. If you're going to be a real playoff championship contender, games like that, cool, bro. Thank you. Got the layup. We got Sacramento to see. What's up with their tendencies? That's the only thing I want these guys to be thinking about. If they're going to be as good as they need to be to reach the goals that they ultimately are being tasked with reaching, whether there's a trade made or not, we can't have no loser mentality, man. We can't be so excited about the smallest of victories, bro. We can't. We got to stay on our toes, head on a swivel on this basketball court. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand, man. I enjoyed the game. That was fun. I enjoyed the layup. It was great. But at some point in time, we got to say, man, people are way too proud of themselves for doing the smallest of things. I know it was Christmas Day, but come on, man. That's all I'm saying. So look, if we didn't gonna do that same thing tonight and play at that same level tonight, it's all about consistency. Now when we start beating people like Cleveland like that, when we finally get a damn win against the Denver Nuggets like that, then we can start talking about, okay, we're doing something because we're beating teams that we have trouble with. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not overly impressed with Golden State, so I'm definitely not impressed with us barely beating them. Hell no. Not this year. So that's really what I'm saying, man. I just want people to reel it in. I don't want us to have a loser mentality. I don't want us to be so thankful for a regular season damn win. You understand what I'm saying? Or in-season tournament, popping bottles and stuff like, man, what are we talking about, bro? That's not championship. That's not a championship. That's not a playoff victory. That ain't even against a good team, bro. We need to stop this. And it starts with us not being so pleased with the smallest of feats. And that's what I have to say, man. That's exactly where my head is going into this game. So the Los Angeles Lakers, they're going to be wearing white tonight. Sacramento Kings will be wearing their black uniforms in our building. We got to beat them. You understand what I'm saying? Just like we beat them twice last week, we need to be on guard to beat them again tonight. We were not impressive last time we saw them. We almost blew that basketball game. We had a 10-point lead with like a minute to go and almost blew it. Just like they did against Detroit. We can't assume that we're so much better than Sacramento when the games that we played in their house were close. And mind you, the Lakers been winning some close games as of late. With the exception of the Atlanta game, most of the close games we've been in as of late, we've been winning. So I'm very proud of us for that. Some of them weren't good against good teams, but we've been winning close games. We've been finding a way to edge out people down the clutch. That needs to continue. You know, we had Rui attempt 12 shots in the last game. That's good. That's a good, healthy shot diet for an efficient shooter. We got to keep him shooting the ball, man. Him walking away with 4 and 5 attempts, that ain't enough. He's making 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5. Like, we got to get these attempts up. And I thought we did a good job against that. Golden State team in doing so. Hopefully Gabe Vincent can get his three-point shot going. He didn't shoot very well in the last one, but he definitely did against his hometown Sacramento Kings. So we are hopeful that we will see a good Gabe Vincent game tonight. Getting Dalton Knecht back into double figures is great. His rebounding is up. I keep telling people he's one of our better rebounders. Got to keep using the young fella, man. And of course, Max Christie, who I think has been probably most impressive, double-digit scoring over the last several games. We got to keep him involved on both sides of the floor. I think we're a much better team when he's starting. And this way of doing things has helped us defensively and offensively. We need his confidence to stay high. And we need him to continue to be aggressive on the offensive end. Not particularly shooting the three ball unless it's falling, but driving at the rim, getting to the line, hitting his mid-range shot. He's starting to really show that he has grown some on the offensive end, and we definitely know he's helping us on the defensive side. So, you know, these are the things that we're going to keep on harping, man. Pay very close attention to this basketball team. If D'Lo ain't out there, then we need Austin to continue to not only be as aggressive as he's been, but take care of the basketball. Against the Detroit Pistons, we had 6 turnovers there. We ain't going to beat Sacramento if that's the case. And you know Sacramento can steal the basketball. We know that. They may not be able to do a lot of things defensively, but getting their hands on deflections is not one of their problems. So we need to be aware of the Keegan Murrays and Malik Monks, De'Aaron Fox. These guys can play some defense. That other dude with the dreads whose name never comes to mind. We understand that if we are errant with the basketball and turn it over, this could be a long night for us. And as I've said at least twice in this video, Sacramento is a much better team on the road than they are at home. For whatever strange psychological reason, they have a significantly better record on the road. So we need to be ready for that. So that's what I'm here to tell people, man. 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern. Lakers Kings. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.